Right, financial insight now with our commentary on Reuters Breakingviews. Today's topics: why Glencore's marriage to Xstrata could be on the rocks before it's even consummated. Also, what it means for the banks advising on this deal, and why Monty de Paschi's revamp plan leaves a lot to be desired. Peter Larson joins me. Let's start with the deal itself, and what the Qataris have said, and how imperiled this tie-up could be now.
Well, I mean, it was already in trouble because there were some shareholders who were causing a fuss over Mick Davis's pay package, and as you know, they have to approve Mick Davis's pay package in order for the whole deal to go ahead. But then the Qataris came along and threw this sort of this unexpected sort of bomb into the whole process by basically saying, we don't like the terms of this deal and we want a better exchange ratio. Now this is surprising because the Qataris have bought most of their stake since the deal was announced. And so they may have been holding out for some better terms, but they've actually kind of what they're asking for is way beyond where people think Glencore will be able to go.
And they must think they can get it, because they've done it since this has all happened, and why would they do it otherwise? They're not going to back down now, are they?
Well, that's the difficult question here. I mean, if we think it's beyond what Glencore will be able to justify to its own shareholders. So we think it'll be very hard for Glencore to go as far as the Qataris want. Now, it's possible the Qataris are saying, this is what we want, and they will then compromise on something in the middle. Although it's quite weird to think, why would you then kind of attach yourself to such a hard target? So maybe they'll back down, in which case this deal might be salvageable. But actually, you know, it's looking increasingly like maybe the best idea is to say it's not the right time, we'll go away and we'll come back another day. Glencore will still have a stake in Xstrata.
Sure.
You know, this deal could always come back at some point in the future.
And that, of course, has the investment bankers quaking in their shoes. 9 banks advising on this. 150 million in fees or thereabouts, in a very, very bad year for M&A.
Well, that's the point. I mean, it's, you know, there's not a lot of deals around. No. This is the biggest deal of the year. As you say, there's a lot of people, you know, kind of a lot of snouts in this particular trough as far as these fees are concerned. And yeah, if it doesn't happen, they'll get paid something, but they won't get paid what they expected to, and that could make the difference really for a lot of these M&A departments between making a profit and making a loss and having to let people go. So it's a tough time for them. Okay,
and then this other piece, MPS, this venerable Italian bank, gets the state aid so that it passes the stress test, but the downside is what?
It's a stopgap.
It's a stopgap. They're going to have to pay it back.
Yeah,
in a few years.
Essentially, what they're doing, you know, they really had. They had very few options in terms of raising this capital, and they've left it until the absolute last minute to say how they're going to do it. The plan had to be in by the end of the month. And there's basically the state has stepped in. We don't quite know on what terms yet, so we don't quite know how these bonds are going to be structured, what kind of coupon they're going to pay, those kind of things. So that remains to be seen. But what seems pretty clear is that these bonds, they'll count as towards MPS's capital for the current stress test purposes, but they won't count as capital under the new Basel III rules that are due to come in towards the end of the decade. So basically, what we expect, and MPS has already got some state money in its capital structure. So essentially what they're doing is they're doubling down on the state money, and they're going to have to pay it all back probably in 3 years' time. So that means some kind of rights issue or something will have to happen, you know, kind of at that point to repay the state money. And then when you add on to that, they've basically kind of, they're talking about cutting some branches and some jobs and trying to sort of, you know, make the whole thing more profitable. But they're only still talking about doubling their return on equity from 3% to 7%. So this plan hardly gets them to a point where people will say this is a great investment.
Okay, very good. And I believe we've got an interview later on Insider with the CEO of the bank, and you can find that on the Insider platform. Very good, Peter. Many thanks for that. If you want to watch our US Breakingviews show, comes on every day, 12:30 Eastern, 17:30 BST. I'm Axel Threlfall. This is Reuters.